Hi guys, in this episode of the Nostalgia Stream, I'm gonna be continuing with my reactions to the Fullmetal Alchemist 2003 series. Currently we are on episode 45, A Rotted Heart, and episode 46, Human Transmutation. And I gotta tell you guys, today is gonna be the final day in which I'm gonna be reacting to Fullmetal Alchemist. For me, that is. For you, it's still gonna be about 2 weeks until you see the ending. But for me, today I'm finishing it. We have like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes and a movie to check out. Which is gonna take me probably about 5 or 6 hours, but it's honestly less than what I did yesterday, so I think we're gonna be just fine. And yeah, I gotta say, it's already kind of starting to weigh on me that we're gonna be soon done with these characters in this world. And even though it's been a shorter period of time that I've been actually experiencing this world and these characters compared to like TMNT 2012, I'm still starting to feel saddened because I grew attached to them, attached to the world and the characters. That's one thing that this show did really well. Sure, I have some issues with this show, and it's kind of weird how I both like and hate the way this show is structured. But it made me attached to them, like the slow burn and the build up was worth it for me to get attached to these characters, and it feels sad that we're soon gonna be done with them. At least, I can console myself with the thought that if I ever want to see more of these characters, I can just go and watch the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood series. Also, in addition to that reason, because I want to be able to accurately decide which version of the Fullmetal Alchemist is better, this one or Brotherhood, because Brotherhood is a more accurate adaptation, because during the course of the creation of the original series, the manga was still being written, so the ending, from what I know, is like very different from the manga. And it's gonna be hard for me to not spoil myself about the ending of Brotherhood. Because I would want to watch reviews or at least reactions of this show, and somebody might end up slipping details about the Brotherhood series and about the proper story of this show. So probably I'm not going to do that until I watch Brotherhood. Which, depending on how well this reaction series to this show performs in terms of views, I could do it sooner rather than later. But so far, out of all the reaction that I've done to cartoons, I think Fullmetal Alchemist has the least amount of views. Only followed closely by Transformers Armada, but even that one has more views than this one. But still, I'm pretty excited to get back into this because the last couple of episodes have been really exciting. We're definitely in the part of the show here at the end where it's all about payoff. Now we are pretty much done with the build-up, and it's all about the payoff of everything that has been built up. Although we still get some surprising reveals, like the fact that that lady was somebody else. She had taken over the body of that evil lady from like episode 10 of the show. And I also actually have a few things that I forgot / didn't have time to talk about at the end of the reaction to the last 2 episodes, because I was kind of burned out yesterday from reacting to like 16 episodes in one day. Holy shit. And I was just trying to end the video as soon as I could, but literally after I was done, I came up with a bunch of possibilities and theories, and my mind kind of ran wild. So I've managed to write them down, and I want to talk to you about them a little bit. It's more so, one is just an observation that I didn't talk about, and the other thing is an actual theory that I have, or prediction, or whatever you want to call it. So the first thing I wrote is Edenao's dad can do alchemy without the circle, just like Teacher, aka Izumi, and just like Ed. That means that he has seen the gate. But based on my knowledge about the ending of this show, I want to argue that he has actually been beyond the gate. But I don't really want to talk about any more than that for those of you who haven't seen this show and you're just watching it with me. And I still want to know, though, how exactly does seeing the gate give you the ability to do alchemy without a transmutation circle? Because I always thought the reason why Ed could do alchemy is because he had a transmutation circle on his arm or something. That was always my thought process, but apparently not. He can do it just because. I guess the way they kind of explain it is that by clapping their hands, they themselves become the transmutation circle or some shit. But yeah, I don't know. I still want an actual explanation by this show, which I don't know if we're actually gonna get, but whatever. And the other thing that I've written down is that I predict that Dante wants Rose's baby to possess it because the current body that she's possessing is disintegrating, and also that whoever she is, she created the first ever Philosopher's Stone because she wanted to steal somebody's body. And the reason why I think that's the case is because why would otherwise Edenau's dad mention the possibility of that it's only possible to take somebody else's body and take over their body instead of getting your old body back with the Philosopher's Stone, when Ao was talking to him about the excitement or the wish to get his real body back, and their dad replying that the body is not recoverable because it's beyond the gate or whatever. There's no other reason for them to say that line, for him to say that line, other than the show implying that that's what has happened before, or that's what he has experienced / seen performed before. There's no other reason why that would be the case. And I'm also genuinely really curious what is the history between Dante and Edenau's dad. I think his name is Hohenheim. Let's go with that. We're just gonna call him that, whether that's his name or not. Because it very much seems like Dante is much older than she looks, even in her old body, because she was the one who created greed. And it was said that he was locked up for 140 years, which means that it was possibly for even longer time ago when he was created. But my question here is even that body that Dante had with the green hair, like the old lady who was the teacher to Edenau's teacher, was that even her actual body, or was that another body that the spirit of Dante had possessed, you know? I'm curious about that. That's kind of why I feel like she might be the one to create the first ever Philosopher's Stone. But again, I remember certain things about this show and Edenau's dad, so we'll see where that goes, I guess. But yeah, that's some of the predictions that I had written down for this show. Everything else I'm going to be talking about in the reactions. That's just something that I forgot to talk about in last episode. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to get into these episodes. It's going to be exciting to get through these couple of final episodes. And hey, you're even gonna get a 3-episode reaction for the final 3 episodes, because it's just an odd number of episodes for the show for whatever reason. Instead of just going for the 52 episodes, which is kind of normal for a lot of shows. Now that I've been looking through which shows I want to react to in the future, no, the show just decided to go for 51 episodes for whatever reason. But yeah, I guess without further ado, let's just get into the reaction. Although, I almost forgot to remind you, if you want to get a full-length version of these reactions, you can do that by going over to my Patreon or my Ko-fi account, where by subscribing at the specific tier I've created for it, you get access to pretty much all of my full-length reactions. If you go for the higher tier, which gives you access to all my cartoon, live-action TV shows, and movie reactions, full-length reactions, or alternatively, you can just go for the tier which is has been around for much longer and is only about the cartoons and the associated movies to said cartoons. You can go for either one of those tiers, or alternatively, you can just stick with the YouTube reactions as well. You don't have to support me through Patreon if you don't want to. I want to make that clear. But yeah, without further ado, at this point, let's just get into the episode, because that's what all of you guys want. So let's get into episode 45, A Rotted Heart, in 3, 2, 1.
Dante, I want you to stop using my sons as pawns in your malicious game. In exchange for that promise, I will tell you the reason your new body is rotting too.
But it's been centuries since our last meeting, Ho and I. We'll
Centuries?
have time to talk later. Right now, why don't you help me enjoy this new body?
Sorry, but I have a wife.
So how the hell is he so old?
Again and again.
So old as well.
400 years ago, when we first met, back when I was still an innocent, you whispered words of love to me.
Ooh, interesting. So they were long lost lovers kind of thing, I
We
guess.
finally achieved our goal. By using the lives of those sentenced to hang during the witch hunts, and those who were dying of the plague.
Huh, during the Dark Ages, huh?
Relentlessly, despite countless failures, we finally grasped it. The Philosopher's Stone.
So they both created it together! Also, the music is so fucking good here.
But the demands of the transmutation took its toll on you. You were dying. In sheer impulse, I attached your soul to the body of another man.
Huh.
And it was then that we discovered
I told you that it's because he has seen it performed before.
Stone. You transplanted your souls again and again. Yes, that's right.
Why did you have us find someone to make the stone if you already had one?
After Hohenheim of Light left my side, I needed a new stone, and I didn't know how to make one on my own. That's why.
Huh. So even she was using the homunculi, huh?
Dante.
It's all starting to make sense.
I was the one who nominated Edward Elric to take the state alchemy exam, despite his age. And now look at the shame he's bringing me.
Are we absolutely certain that this boy is connected with the insurrection in Lior?
Well, according to his report, he was in Lior a year ago, where he exposed the Leto priest as a fraud who was using alchemy to control his loyal congregants. He stated that the people there had renounced the charlatan, but in reality, the man went on to lead a revolt against our troops, and we were forced into armed combat.
I heard the military suppression was excessively violent, and that's what started the war.
Are you criticizing my operations, Mustang?
Yes.
The information concerns your secretary, Miss Douglas.
Just what are you implying exactly?
It's Miss Douglas's day off today.
How convenient.
There are serious doubts about her military record, and it has now been suggested that she was an accomplice in the recent murder of Brigadier General Hughes.
Oh, my goodness, that's quite an accusation.
He's a homunculi. Fight! 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 Fight!
I don't know whether the Fuhrer is a homunculus or not. But for a long time, these people who call themselves homunculi have sacrificed innocent human lives for one reason, developing the Philosopher's Stone. And it's possible the entire uprising and war in Ishbal were orchestrated by them in order to gain the lives needed for the stone's creation.
That's what we learned already.
Tell me, why would any sane person go after the Philosopher's Stone?
For wealth, glory,
Power.
To gain eternal life. It should drive anyone away, except someone who's already lost it all. Someone pushed to the brink by the tragedies around them, like in a war.
It is odd. Since Fuhrer Bradley took over, our country's been at war constantly, just one campaign after another.
You're right, I never realized that.
I'm a soldier. I don't mind war. But what if all the reasons have been lies, and the sole motive was to cause death on a large enough scale, to create both the motivation and the ingredients for a stone?
Because that's exactly what it is.
If I give my whole life to revenge now, everything Scar said, his life would be meaningless.
Then,
Still, there is something that I have to take care of.
Something more important than what you've been searching for? Or revenge?
Yes.
Ow! What do you want?
I'll braid your hair for you.
That's okay. I'll do it myself later.
I'll do it.
Okay.
See guys, that's how you get girls. Just grow out your hair. And let them braid it for you.
How can my soul be rotting?
Not even souls are invincible. Each time we leap to another body, we leave a little strength behind. Now our souls no longer have the energy to maintain a body. You have to face the truth, Dante. That's how we're going to die.
I won't die. As long as I still have the stone. I'll transfer to another body.
And pretty soon that body will rot as well. And the next one will go even quicker.
And then I'll transfer to another body.
You can't keep doing that forever though.
Philosopher's Stone.
Oh yeah, he didn't know. Is she fucking naked? I mean, I feel like it's pretty obvious how is in a metal body it doesn't have limbs. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out what could have possibly happened.
Would you like to know what lies beyond the gate?
Yes!
Don't tell me you haven't been just a little bit curious.
I've been curious this whole show! Please tell me!
No, part of the gate is actually within all of us. As our consciousness matures and we grow more attached to this world, we lose our awareness of it. But by using someone whose link is still strong, like a baby, the gate can be summoned. I'm going to show you, my darling. See for yourself just what is beyond the gate.
What are you gonna sacrifice the baby?
You need to eat more, dear. If you don't gain some weight, my dresses won't fit very well.
Is she? Oh, she's trying to take over her body. Rose's body.
That can't be him. The guy we're looking for is the size of an ant.
Commander!
Calm down, man. Calm down. So is Ao also able to clap now?
Thanks, brother.
If you use the stone's power, we don't know what will happen to you. We'll take our time, okay? We'll study more and do it right. Don't worry. It'll be fine.
Brother, where are you going?
Good old Dad told us, didn't he? Someone out there has been manipulating all the homunculi. There's something here I'm gonna need if we're going to stop them.
I'll come with you.
It won't take long. Why don't you just stay here?
But
Don't worry. You just rest for a while.
I get why he's trying to keep him out of it, but it is so annoying.
They've officially ordered us to regroup and conduct an offensive in the north.
It's a very dangerous region.
Right. After my little performance at the council, whoever's pulling the strings in all this must have realized I'm a threat. And before I could cause any more trouble, they send us straight to the front line.
They wanted to silence us so badly, couldn't they have just done it here in Central?
Not after Hughes, they couldn't. It would be way too suspicious if they tried that again. Out on the battlefield, they can have us killed whenever they want to. No matter how many times I read the material Sheska gave to me, I just couldn't put the whole thing together. I needed to confront the Fuhrer to test him. And he's responded in classic form. Innocent men don't cover their tracks.
Did you happen to keep any of the remains of your baby's corpse?
You're going after them?
So he's gathering up things that can hurt them.
Thank you for coming, Alphonse. We're happy to see you again.
He knows that he's a Philosopher's Stone. He wants to use him, right? Honestly, I feel like this episode did not really give me much. It was still entertaining because we still get little bits and pieces of the puzzle, and we're almost done with finishing it. We're almost at the end of building up the puzzle. And I think they kind of confirmed my speculation about, and confirmed my memories that I have about the ending of this show, because they talked about what's beyond the gate. And I think they said something about another dimension or something? or another universe. And I think that's what I remember it being, but I guess we're gonna find out once we get there. I still don't want to talk about it until we get there, but I'm really curious about the context surrounding that concept, because to me it's a really cool concept, and it feels like it both feels like such a tonal shift, and at the same time it feels like it perfectly makes sense that that's what it would be beyond the gate. It kind of, like, I feel like this show is the reason why I've had this kind of infatuation or a fever dreamish kind of thing, where I've always dreamt or imagined or fantasized about getting sucked to a parallel universe where my fictional worlds that I enjoy are real, you know? Because I think I literally probably had that dream as a kid, where I dreamt that I was in a parallel universe where I helped the Transformers, and then I was forced to go back to the normal world, and I was sad because that other world where the Transformers were real, when I was in the normal world, was supposedly fictional and didn't ever exist, and I was thinking that I imagined it in my dream, and I was sad about it because I wasn't anymore with my friends, the Transformers, you know? And I feel like that dream was prompted by this show, by this the ending to this show. I don't know, it's just such a cool concept to me, but again, I'm gonna talk about it more once we get there. But yeah, this one didn't really it didn't really give us much. It exposited a little bit, but it just kind of felt like a middle part of a three-parter. Like, it felt like it was just continuing to put more pieces, but not really necessarily the most important pieces. It felt like one of those pieces at the end of the puzzle where it's just like the sky, like you're doing like a puzzle like those ones up there that you can see, and it's just one of those pieces is just the whole blue part of the sky. Like, the whole piece is just blue with not much details to it. That's kind of how this episode feels. It's another piece of the puzzle, but it doesn't really give you any information. It's just kind of there to complete it and connect it with the other pieces. So yeah, this episode didn't really give us much, or at least as much as I wanted. I think it confirms the memories that I have about the ending to this show, but again, I don't want to talk about it and spoil those of you who are watching this reaction with me, if there's any like that. So I'm gonna talk about it once we get to the reveal about it, but I think it pretty much confirmed my speculation and my memories about what is beyond the gate. And I really like, if that ends up being true, I just want to say I really like the concept of what is beyond the gate. It's such a cool goddamn idea, and I have so much to say in regards to it. But overall, this episode was still pretty entertaining because we got more explanation about who Edenau's father is and who Dante is, and my speculation and my theory was pretty much correct, wasn't it? I said that she was the one who created the Philosopher's Stone, the first Philosopher's Stone, and she moved from body to body, and so did Edenau's father, which I wasn't necessarily sure whether he was involved in that, but it seems like he was. I had some memories about it, but I'm glad that I turned out to be correct about that as well. But it's so fun whenever I fucking predict this show. Like, this is one of the few shows which it's really fucking satisfying when it gives you the breadcrumbs and allows you to put it together yourself and realize it yourself before you get there. Like, I don't think I've had this kind of experience with any other show. Maybe it's just that at this point I've gained such an experience in figuring out where stories could potentially lead to by doing so many reactions and reviews to stuff. But I don't know, it's just so fucking cool. Maybe it's the fact that this show is just good at doing the story like that. Maybe it's just me getting good enough to figure out stuff like that before they happen. But it's cool nonetheless, and I love that about this show. I'll definitely miss that about it. But yeah, a little bit of a disappointment with this episode, if I gotta be honest. I wanted some more exciting stuff, but it was still an enjoyable episode. I still liked it. It was still fun. It's definitely better than some of the mid episodes of the season, like episodes between episode 20 and episode 40 were kind of the least interesting to me, by and large. We obviously had some good ones among those, but for the most part, it was the worst period of the show, in my opinion. But yeah, in terms of a rating for this episode, I think I'm going to go with a little bit of a lower rating at an 8.9 out of 10, because it's still like a good episode for this show, but I feel like it could have been more exciting and could have dropped more clues and more interesting stuff. It does feel a little bit like they're kind of extending the story unnecessarily, you know? But yeah, I don't know. What do I know? I'm not a professional reviewer or whatever. So yeah, I guess let's just get into episode 46, which I expect is gonna be the big battle against the homunculi, or at least some of them, because it is called human transmutation. So it's gonna have to have something to do with that, but I'm curious what exactly. Maybe it's gonna focus more on Ed and Teacher getting the remains of Wrath's original body to try to take him down, so I guess we'll see. I do wonder what's gonna happen with Ed and Al's body parts, though, from that. Whether he's gonna get them and reattach them or whatever, because, again, I have some memories about what happens at the end of this show, and I'm not sure whether he gets them back or not, or something like that. I think he does, and he maybe sacrifices the opposite for something, but yeah. I don't know, I remember something about that. So I guess we're gonna find out when we get there, huh? Let's get into episode 46, Human Transmutation, in 3, 2, 1.
What has happened between you brothers and me, but really, we are very much alike, don't you agree? Yes, very much alike indeed.
No, we're not alike. Can you die already? Man, this here shows that Ao is still not a mature person. He's still a very young child, very gullible child. Even though it's been 6 years, he still hasn't matured. Like, how dumb can you be? He obviously wants to use you.
Using a philosopher's stone.
How did you know he had it? Or that it was made?
Actually, it was quite simple. By looking at Archer's wounds, I could tell exactly what had happened in Leor. Especially since Scar was there. Then there's the Fuhrer. I heard how badly he wanted to fight you and your brother.
I am the Philosopher's Stone.
I hadn't realized it, but I suppose this does explain your brother's reluctance.
Yes, if we use the stone, there's no telling what can happen to it. He wants to study it more. But he said he has some business to finish with the homunculi before we can do anything. I understand he's worried about me. I do. But I don't want to wait anymore. I want his body to be whole again. So please...
Man, they're so selfless for each other. Ed wants Al's body to be back. Al wants Ed's body to be complete. The thing is, I feel like Al's body is more important than Ed's limbs. You know, it is really annoying how we literally didn't see a single scene from these openings ever happen on the show. It's annoying because those scenes are so much more exciting than a lot of the battles in this show.
From a long line of them. She chose a life of isolation, living in these woods, seeing no one. But for what purpose?
If approval is what you're looking for, then you might as well enlist and become a state.
Funny, I guess there was a subtle hint that Dante had possessed that girl because she has a red kind of jewelry thing on her chest here, and that girl had a blue one. Another breadcrumb that sadly I didn't pick up on.
There was one name that was never to be spoken in front of her. That name was Hohenheim of Light.
My father?
Yes. This is the only useful thing I found.
So she knew his father.
It's a love letter from Hohenheim to Dante years ago.
Wait a minute. You can't tell me that. I met Dante. She was an old hag. She was at least 20 years older than my dad. There's no way.
That's not the only problem with this.
Yeah.
The year is indicated there based on the birth of Christ.
The birth of Christ?
The dating system isn't used anymore. It's derived from an ancient religion, one that hasn't been practiced for centuries. That date was 400 years ago.
What do you mean for centuries?
So what do you make of
Wait, so Christianity is not a thing in this universe, but used to be a thing.
What are you going to do now? Start a war up north, apparently. The Fuhrer won't stop until we're all dead.
I just wish I could be there to help, you know?
It's almost time, sir.
During your last physical examination, we discovered athlete's foot, and we now believe that it is affecting your brain.
Sorry about this, Sergeant. Guess we just can't mobilize you.
So he's leaving somebody to... so they could be safe. Is that so?
Not bad at all.
That's very funny, sir.
It's so weird for Mustang's people, him and his people, to be the comic relief in this show.
The Fuhrer has considered all possible strategies and made a wise decision. We will gather our
Yeah,
military forces
they tried
on
everything,
the border and expel
they tried
the
nothing, and they're all
Those who
out of
stand
ideas.
represent us in this crucial show of force are the greatest among us.
We're gonna be
Soldiers,
committing a special military
champions,
operation.
Heroes.
Don't worry about that. Frank Archer will be heading our defense.
Archer? He's still alive? But how?
He's not. Probably. Oh! Fuck! I guess he is alive, but I still don't think he's gonna be the one defending the city. How did a homunculi manage to infiltrate the military so high up?
You know, there are no legends about the Philosopher's Stone in the north. Even if we provoke them, no one there will know how to create a Philosopher's Stone.
It doesn't matter. Our only objective this time is to cover up our tracks. Those who have been close to the Philosopher's Stone will die. There will be no exceptions for your soldiers.
So Mustang's not the only one you're after.
Of course.
Huh.
Anyone who had
Is he gonna switch sides all of a sudden?
will be killed in action.
Don't play dumb. You know who I mean. The bastard who made me the way you made greed and pride. The one who's been jerking me around.
Oh, yes. You mean Hohenheim.
He came here. I know he did. So where is he?
Missing your father?
He created her?
Tell me where he is now!
He's dead.
He's not. He can't be dead yet. I'm going to kill him myself.
I broke the union of his soul, his mind, and his body. He's as good as dead.
No, it can't be. Why didn't you tell me?
What is that supposed to mean?
Of course, his sons are still alive, you know.
It was for me!
They have the Philosopher's Stone with them, but then I'm sure you knew that. Continue the way they are.
Man, I love Envy. She and Lust are probably my favorite out of the homunculi.
Those two boys he loved are going to regain.
They were genuinely fun characters.
You alone, who should have been his most treasured child. You will gain nothing.
And it's so fun how this show always makes me feel bad for the bad guys after we find out an even badder guy as the show goes on. Like first Scar was a bad guy, then I start feeling bad about him, then Greed was a bad guy and I felt bad about him. And now I feel bad for the homunculi.
Tucker learned a lot about the stone while working in Laboratory 5. He knows what it's capable of. If he learned that much about the way the stone works, then he must know enough to teach the boy how to use it. Why don't you tell me what you're thinking about, love?
You're leaving?
For a little while.
Oh, it's interesting how Izumi took care of Eda now as her own kids. And in this case here, Sloth, who is a personification of Eda now's mom, is taking care of the personification of Izumi's kid.
You just imitated it?
Tucker! I'm afraid I have to insist that my payment come first, Al. You understand that such a large Philosopher's Stone as you should
Well, I don't think you have a choice, Al. Fuck off, rat.
I'll take this.
Sorry, my arm's not for sale. Let go!
What? Stop taking his limbs, you fucking little brat.
For your life, Elric.
I wasn't about to. I have artificial limbs and Al's a suit of armor, but our souls make us human beings, not our bodies. That's something you'll never have.
Just shut up! Why are you just standing there?
Would you make me a human being?
Traitor!
What the hell are you trying here?
I already told you.
Oh, come on.
She just wants to be a
You really think
human.
I would turn you guys into humans. You're even crazier than I thought you were.
Why wouldn't you? If you transformed all of us homunculi into humans, then we wouldn't be chasing you anymore. You'd have no more enemies, would you?
That's a good point.
Traitor! I've got my own strategy for becoming a human lust. I guess.
Fuck you, rat.
You really can't be trusted, can you? I'll do all of us.
Man, I hate that little bastard. I don't think that's gonna kill him. And here she also becomes an ally. I love her. So fucking cool.
Why do you want to be human? You guys are immortal, aren't you? And you don't even age at all from what I can tell. You can't be hurt and you have powers no human being can ever top.
Yeah, why would you want to be
should I believe you
human?
when you say you want to give all that up?
You don't know how cruel you're being, do you? Alright. Why do you want your brother to return to the flesh? He's practically immortal too now. It's the same thing, Edward.
Hold it! The person you were talking about, the one you call Master. Just tell me one thing. Is it somebody that I know?
You know something? If you make me human, I just might answer that question.
Honestly, I think she has earned to be human.
Don't forget! I still have your weakness, you know.
I love that both Scar and her became an ally.
Sweetheart, listen carefully, darling. I want you to say Daddy.
There's no soul.
I didn't come all this way to take that soulless doll away from you. It takes a very strong will to attach a soul, so I'm sure you are aware that it wasn't possible for you. Come, Alphonse Elric, it's time for us to go.
So he created a perfect human body, but it still doesn't have a soul.
Road? What do you mean?
Oh shit!
No, brother! What's happening to me? Is this really the Philosopher's Stone?
The cost of using the stone! He's losing pieces of his armor! I remember that now! I remember that! Of course there's gotta be some kind of cost! Equivalent exchange! Although I feel like it's fucking unfair because millions of people, well not millions, but thousands of people died. So, I feel like it's unfair for him to be losing his body as well. It just feels kind of wrong, you know? Like, so it's not enough to kill a shit ton of people to create the stone, the body also has to disintegrate afterwards, huh? But yeah, okay. Another pretty decent episode. I feel like this one was a little better than the last one because it gave us more explanation and more interactions. Like, I like that Lust is now helping Edward just like Scar was after a while. And that she just simply wants to be human. Like, she's not evil for evil's sake. She just wants to be human. Although, we still don't really understand why she just wants to be human. Because I get her argument. But the difference is, there's a big difference between being a very human-like creature that has superpowers, basically, and being a fucking metal armor. Because until recently, Al couldn't even fucking swim because his seal would get washed off. Whereas the homunculi could easily just do whatever the fuck they wanted. More things that even the humans could, you know? Sure, they have certain weaknesses, like maybe they have to consume the fake Philosopher's Stones and human souls or whatever, but it's not that big of a deal, you know? And I feel like, at least you cannot compare the two. I feel like it's much better to be a homunculi than it is to be a soul attached to fucking armor. So while, yeah, it is kind of cruel for Ed to say, why do you want to be human when he is a human, I still think it's not unreasonable to also think that it's not that bad to be a homunculi, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I just enjoy that she's now on the good guys' side. But man, yeah, we're really getting into the parts of the show that I really remember, because like I said, I remember that Al was gonna start losing bits and pieces of his armor now because of the using of the Philosopher's Stone. So I guess Ed was correct about worrying about that. And I guess this kind of confirms that Ed should not be able to get his body back, even with the Philosopher's Stone, because they recreated the body of his daughter, but they don't have her soul. She still doesn't have a soul, so it's still not there. So basically, they kind of made a better version of homunculi, where it's an actual human, but it still doesn't have a soul. But then that begs the question, why does human transmutation fail when you don't use the Philosopher's Stone? Because the argument before was that it becomes a homunculi because it doesn't have a soul. It's still a body that is being created, but it doesn't have a soul. But then that means that this thing should also be a homunculi, but I don't think it is. Because they said that it's a perfect transmutation, so it means that it is a human body, right? Yeah, I don't know. Still a pretty decent episode, and a little better than the other one, but I feel like we've kind of died down a little bit with the excitement compared to the other episodes. Oh, or it might generally be just the fact that I'm reacting to this show now again during the night, because for whatever reason I was so much more excited and entertained when I was reacting to them during the day. I don't know why that's the case. I might have to rethink how I react to stuff if I react to stuff differently if I do it during the day. But yeah, I don't know. In terms of rating for this one, I think I'm actually going to give it a pretty high rating of 9.4 out of 10. I think this was really, really fun. But to be honest, the most exciting and interesting thing that happened in this episode, I guess there's two things. Well, three. One is the fact that I was reminded about the memory of Ao losing pieces of his armor as he uses the Philosopher's Stone. And the other thing that I really liked about this episode is Lust working with Ed here at the end. But definitely the most interesting thing about this episode was Dante telling Envy what she did to Hohenheim. She said that she killed him. But the way she described it, and the way it was shown with him going beyond the gate, I just can't wait to find out exactly what it is, to see the show explain it to me, because I remember it. I remember what it is. But I also don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil it. And because I don't want to look like an idiot if it turns out to be something completely wrong and I just dreamed it or imagined it in a different way. So yeah, I don't know. Pretty exciting stuff in these couple of episodes, though, for sure. Even if some are weaker than others, I'm still enjoying the shit out of all of these episodes, honestly. It's just that I guess my brain has been used to enjoying episodes in a certain way with, like, TMNT, so now that we're watching a show with a completely different formula and a completely different vibe and style of making a cartoon, it's obviously going to be hard to adjust. And I've also not really given my brain the time to adjust because I've been binging all these episodes in like 4 days. So yeah, I think that's all I have to cover about this episode. So before we end this video, so what did you guys think about these episodes? Comment your thoughts down below and let's have a discussion about it. And also, before we end this video, I just want to give a huge shout out to my currently one patron on Patreon, Deadpool. Thank you for your support, I really appreciate it. It really means a lot to me that you have decided to support me, have continued to support me for such a long time. I hope you continue to enjoy my content and continue to support me going forward. Thank you very much. Another thing that I also want to tell you guys before we end this video is something about me that some of you may or may not know, that will also explain why do I look and dress the way that I do. That being the fact that I am trans. In particular, I am somewhere between a non-binary person and a trans woman. I'm not quite sure at the moment and probably won't be sure until I talk to a professional who deals with trans people, but that is where the reason why I'm telling you all this comes. I need your help. Due to the fact that I live in a homophobic and transphobic Eastern European country with a family that won't really accept the fact that I'm trans if they found out, there is not really a feasible or easy way for me to transition here with minimal repercussions. So that's why I would really appreciate any kind or any amount of support that you guys can give me with this. That said, I don't want to guilt trip you or anything, so if you don't want to or you don't have the means to help out, that's fine, don't feel bad. I just want you to know that it would be greatly appreciated if you did help me out get out of this situation. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and thank you for hearing me out. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, check out the link in the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me over there, and to my Wattpad where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you don't enjoy my stories or simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to my Patreon or to my Ko-fi account where you can pledge support and help get the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing the stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think this is pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!